In a region often defined by restraint and quiet pragmatism, the Nordic countries have begun a revolution of their own, one that has little to do with fighter jets or new tanks, and everything to do with the steady rhythm of machines producing ammunition. While much of Europe struggles to rebuild its defense industry, the Nordics, led by Norway's Nammo Raufoss, are building what may become Europe's most reliable and integrated munitions network. The Nordic Ammo Pact, signed in August 2025, has transformed the region from a set of small, efficient economies into a collective arsenal powering Europe's rearmament. The war in Ukraine exposed a brutal arithmetic. Modern conflict is sustained not by rhetoric or doctrine, but by shells. Europe promised to deliver 1 million artillery rounds to Ukraine by 2024. By mid-2025, barely a third had arrived. The reason was not political hesitation but industrial weakness. Factories were outdated, production lines slow to restart, and energy costs high. Against that backdrop, Norway's Nammo stood out. Its facilities at Raufoss and Lapua had already ramped up production by nearly 50%, using automated processes and regional cooperation to overcome bottlenecks. The Nordic Ammo Pact was born from this momentum. It links Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark in a regional supply network that treats ammunition not as a commodity, but as a strategic ecosystem. Norway, through Nammo's headquarters at Raufoss, manages research and the production of propellants, electronic fuse, and shell casings. Finland's Lapua and Vitavori plants handle powder and small-caliber ammunition, while Sweden's Karlskoga complex assembles 120mm and 155mm rounds. Denmark's Vingsted plant provides maintenance, transport, and warehousing across borders. Together, these facilities now operate as one distributed factory. Components flow between them depending on need and capacity, a concept unthinkable in most of Europe's defense industries. In September 2025, the European Defence Fund approved €340 million to expand depots in Raufoss and Lapua, designating them as the continent's first European munitions hubs. Nammo, in partnership with Rheinmetall and BAE Systems Bofors, has also launched Next Gen 155, a program to develop precision-guided, long-range shells capable of adjusting trajectory mid-flight. The technological ambition behind this surge is remarkable. Nammo's modular charge system allows propellant to be reconfigured for different ranges and guns, reducing waste while increasing accuracy. Robotic assembly lines and AI-based quality checks have replaced much of the manual labor that once limited production. By 2027, Nammo aims to double its 155mm and 7.62mm output, with nearly all facilities powered by renewable energy. The company has announced that its Raufoss plant will run entirely on green hydrogen by 2026, a symbolic but significant step in reconciling defense manufacturing with environmental policy. This industrial revival carries immense strategic weight. The Nordic region now supplies around 40% of NATO's 155mm ammunition in Europe and 70% of its small arms rounds. It also provides key rocket components for the HIMARS system through cooperation with Kongsberg. In October 2025, Norway and the United States signed a memorandum of understanding to expand NATO's ammunition stockpiles in Norway to support both Arctic and Baltic contingencies. What was once a logistical backwater has become the backbone of Europe's readiness. The Pact's integration goes beyond production. It aligns logistics and command structures under NATO's emerging Combined Air Operations Center in Bodø, which will soon monitor not only air traffic, but also munitions transport. The Nordics are experimenting with a digital ammo cloud, a shared inventory system that tracks shells across national borders in real time. In trials completed in October 2025, Norway and Finland successfully used the joint ammunition tracking system developed by Saab and Nammo, allowing instant reallocation of ammunition stock during exercises. Still, the project faces serious constraints. Copper, nitrocellulose, and specialty steel remain partly dependent on imports from the United States and Canada. Energy costs have fluctuated sharply since the 2024 crisis, adding 30 to 40% to overhead. Cyber attacks and industrial espionage pose persistent risks, particularly from actors linked to Russia. Environmental regulations add further pressure. Factories like Raufoss are monitored for nitrous oxide emissions, a byproduct of propellant production. Yet the Nordics view these as challenges to manage, not excuses to delay. Their answer has been innovation, renewable energy, digital monitoring, and regional redundancy. The industrial renaissance also connects to a broader rearmament strategy. Ammunition from Nammo is already optimized for the CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles' 35mm and 40mm guns used across Sweden, Finland, and Norway. The same factories supply artillery rounds for Archer and K9 Thunder systems, as well as propellant for NASAMS and Iris-T SLM air defenses. For the first time, the region is building a coherent, vertically integrated defense ecosystem, from sensors and software to barrels and shells, all within a shared climate, standard, and supply chain. The implications extend beyond technology. For decades, Northern Europe relied on German and French industrial capacity while focusing on niche expertise in communications or training. The Ammo Pact reverses that dependency. In practical terms, it means that if conflict spreads, the Nordics can sustain high-intensity warfare without waiting for shipments from the continent. In political terms, it elevates them from being security consumers to security providers, a transformation echoed in Norway's words when signing the pact. "We are not stockpiling for ourselves, we are stockpiling for Europe." Three strategic motives underpin this transformation. First, self-reliance. The Nordics learned during COVID and the Ukraine war that global supply chains can collapse overnight. Second, deterrence. Ammunition stockpiles serve as a visible metric of credibility. Third, integration. Through shared production, the four nations deepen military and political alignment faster than any treaty could. These motives explain why the pact has drawn attention from NATO planners as a potential model for other regional defense clusters, such as the Baltics or Benelux. Looking ahead, the path is clear but demanding. By 2030, the Nordics aim to make Europe fully self-sufficient in ammunition. Achieving that goal will require continuous funding, energy security, and protection of industrial infrastructure from hybrid threats. The sabotage of undersea cables in the Baltic Sea in 2023 and 2024 reminded everyone that war in the 21st century can target factories and data centers as easily as troops. The Ammo Pact's strength lies in its distributed nature. 4 nations, multiple plants, redundant power sources, and shared digital systems make it far more resilient than any single national complex. For Europe, this effort marks a subtle but historic shift. The continent's northern edge, once peripheral, has become its industrial core. As F-35s and CV-90s dominate headlines, it is the steady output of shell casings and propellant bags that ensures those systems matter in combat. Every shell produced at Raufoss or Karlskoga is not only a contribution to Ukraine's defense, but also a guarantee of Europe's long-term deterrence. The lesson from the Nordic Ammo Pact is simple yet profound. Deterrence begins with logistics. The Nordics have turned that insight into policy, proving that small nations with shared purpose can outpace larger economies paralyzed by bureaucracy. They are not just arming Europe's front lines, they are rebuilding its industrial backbone. In the echo of every round fired in Donbass, one can hear the hum of machines in the north, forging the future of European security.